Here we go. Well. Welcome back to the channel, you guys. It's been a minute. My voice is going to sound probably off. The microphone might sound a little bit different. I'm definitely going to be out of breath. I've been through something that's very traumatic to really try and sum things up for you. It's been traumatic. I'm still healing, so my voice is going to be croaky. I'm going to be short-winded, like I'm saying, and we're just going to get through it. But I've got so many different things that I want to talk about, that I want to go over. I've been watching in the background. I've been looking at all of the different things that have been going on. Again, nothing exciting really going on inside Terra Classic, and that's just become the norm, as it seems, just going forward. And it always has really just sort of been, nothing ever really happens, nothing really materializes, everything we do is always in vain. So I think, like, going forward, we definitely need to have like a different attitude, especially as we're getting close now to the end of the year. We're going to be going into 2026. But guys, let me know how my sound quality is. Like I said, this is a new microphone, it's a new setup. I've got a studio booth that I'm doing everything at the moment, so the sound quality should be pretty good as long as the microphone's been set up properly. So again, let me know, guys. Drop a like, just throw some support down, let me know if I sound good, and yeah, we'll press ahead. But as soon as you guys give me a thumbs up, let me know it sounds good, then I'm gonna blast through it. And there's so many things going on in the market at the moment, and trying to pay attention to everything is absolutely mind-numbingly just hard at all times. But things seem to be tying up, if you will, especially on a global scale, all of the different things that have been happening throughout the course of 2024 and 2025. I mean, the things we've been through, especially my generation, and I know a lot of you will probably feel the same. We've been through some crazy stuff. It's not like we've seen a world war or anything like that, but again, we've seen these recessions, these bad situations, these scenarios that play out time and time again. So the sound is perfect. Let's absolutely go for it. Let's blast it. No more small talk. And yeah, I'll run you through it. So what I actually want to do is give you guys a breakdown of what actually happened. In my last video, I mentioned that I was having issues with my back and I was due some surgery. And what I was having is some discs fused together. More specifically, it was 2 discs that I was having fused, and there was a very low probable chance that something could go wrong. And what I actually had is this durotomy, where there's an accidental tear in the dura mater, and yeah, it got complicated. I had to have more surgery, and essentially I just became paralyzed to a point of where I couldn't even speak. I felt, and I could never ever find the Family Guy episode where Peter Griffin has a stroke. So funny now, because I was literally in that situation where I got to a point of where I could like move my mouth, I could begin to talk again. So yeah, it's been a real painful journey, and it's not like I can hand anything off to anybody, if that makes sense. It's not like I could simply just give everybody the keys to all of my wallets and go, you guys go ahead, look after everything. My family is very important to me, and again, these are the things that I've always kept hidden from the community here. And it's the fact that I have 2 children that I also support. They're my absolute world. One of them is just coming up on his 1st birthday. So, you know, life is life, and it's the same for everybody. But again, it hasn't been easy. I couldn't hand anything off to everybody. And what I'd actually built is a perpetual non-profit machine. So everything continued running. Lunk Dash was there for you guys during the whole time. Pengs were getting paid all of their rewards, and the gears were turning. And again, I'm really sorry that I didn't reach out. I didn't drop a message. I didn't put a tweet out, because I didn't want the sympathy vote. I didn't want people to be like, oh, you know, really sorry for you. I just wanted to get on with it. I just wanted to get through the physio and get back to you guys and try to be 100% again, and try push this blockchain to the next level. And the reason why I say push it to the next level is because, again, like, we're throwing bricks at walls at this point. We're really starting to get into this notion of upgrade. And I feel like we've gone all the way back to the very beginning, where we were simply just getting upgrades. And these upgrades aren't going to do anything. They're not going to market anything. They're not going to introduce new people into our sector. They're just going to keep the perpetual machine that is Terra Classic and Columbus 5 moving around in circles. And again, I think it's time for something new. All of the people that are talking about these stable coins, I think now is a great time to think about introducing a new stable coin. Yeah, that sounds crazy, but all of the new laws that have been brought in and the Genius Stablecoin Act that I educated you guys on so many different times in so many different videos and said this was very important, has now brought in some rules where you can't have a yield-bearing stablecoin only if it's under certain circumstances. On our chain, effectively, from what I understand so far, it could be a little bit wrong here. There might be some other things that we need to do, but our chain can effectively offer a yield-bearing stable coin. And again, we've got all of these ghost assets. We've got all of this BTC that's just sat there. That's still part of LFG. Nothing's even happened to it. We've got all of these choices, right, that are outside of these upgrades, and we could really opt into different things. So again, all of these people that have been, I think, proposing all of these different stablecoin ideas, I think now's the time to really lend credence to all of these different ideas and start to think outside the box, start to think outside of the norm. Because if you look at the crash that we've just went through, right, they're saying this was like the biggest crash for a considerable amount of time now. They're calling it a Black Swan event, a Black Friday event. What we know is that was pretty bad. Sitting from the sideline, and I'm a day trader. I only do the charts on days. I think for about a year now. I don't even bother with hourly charts, but this was a big dip for us. And the reason why I say this is a big dip for us is because we've never actually been this low. And why this should kind of be a slap in the face for everybody in our ecosystem and a real wake-up call is if this is in fact the end of the bull cycle, if this is in fact the downturn, if this is in fact the end of the real big pumps that we were supposed to get, we've missed it, right? We're all going to be going down eventually, and that's just the way the cookie crumbles. And until we reach the next halving cycle, unless altcoin season or something like that, which we'll get into all of that, and you know, I'm just theorizing here. But if we do continue to go down, we're likely going to see a very sharp collapse of our ecosystem. And the reason why I say this is a lot of the validators that are there, they're independent, people like all nodes. Eventually, if the price gets low enough, all of those validators will be validating a blockchain and they're paying a monthly running cost for all of their infrastructure. And you better believe it's a considerable amount. We know all nodes already does a lot of the back end stuff and they provide that for free. But once the price gets low enough, and I'm theorizing here, if the price does continue to go down and it does get low enough, you would see a mass exodus. And the only people that are really going to hold on are all of the people that really believe in the ecosystem. So again, we have to think outside of the box. We are gradually getting pushed closer and closer and further down on this rather large descending triangle. And again, if we can push a big breakout, say altcoin season does come, we introduce some kind of yield bearing stable coin, and then people build these lending and borrowing protocols, and the ecosystem starts to boom, right? We're going to be in a better situation. We're going to have a lot more options on the table. And again, this is all about gaining ground. If you're from the United States, you'll probably totally get this. We're essentially playing American football, right? And we're just trying to gain as much ground as possible before we inevitably lose ground with the motion of the ocean that is BTC and BTC's dominance. So anyway, now we've got that out of the way, you know, I just wanted to say, with all of the things going on, we should look at burning all of these ghost assets. We should start to look at all of the different ins and outs, because, and again, I'm just throwing some stuff out here. I'm just trying to cover some of the stuff that's really kind of piqued my interest recently. And I don't know if this one's fallen between the cracks. I don't know if people out there are talking about it or whatever, but Do Kwon changed his plea to guilty. And this is very significant because there's not really going to be a court case now going forward. This is so significant because essentially you're not going to get all of the answers that are going to tell us who did what, why it happened, who actually penetrated the system, who managed to pull out all of the liquidity, who really started the whole collapse of the ecosystem that we're now all part of. Do Kwon is going to be serving a life sentence. He's never going to see the light of day again. So him actually just going and pleading guilty, that's quite serious. This starts to tell us, right, that clearly there are a lot of wrongdoings throughout this whole thing, but this leaves us as an ecosystem with a lot of funds. And I'm going to be doing a lot of content. I'm going to be going over exactly what this means for our ecosystem in depth and really showing you what the court case is now going to look like on the criminal side. And then you're saying to yourself, well, hang on a minute, hasn't this all been dealt with, Jay? And no, we've had the civil side dealt with. That's still ongoing. The payouts are still happening at this moment in time. But the criminal case is, I think, going to be some point in 2026, but it's going to be an in and out job. It's going to be like window glazers, in and out real fast. It's going to happen probably within a matter of a month. It's going to be real cheap compared to the court case that was going to happen. And again, there's not going to be much happening. There's not going to be anything really there for us to gain from it. There will be some evidence there. We'll likely get some answers to some of our questions. But again, it's not going to give us that definitive answer of who did it. There's been so many rumors for a long time that it was BlackRock. It was all of these different actors. The fact that FTX was involved in it. It all starts to say to me, we're simply not going to get those answers. And those answers really gives us as an ecosystem the closure that we deserve. Because again, we're perpetually caught in this whole debacle. We're perpetually caught and attached to Luna, to USTC. And this is again why it's actually a good idea to think about fostering in some kind of new yield bearing stablecoin. But the big what if buts and coconuts when it comes to something like that is actually having the funding to get the thing going, you know, to actually provide liquidity for it. And it's the same with the USTC staking. I don't know if they managed to push that through. It's definitely something I need to look at. But again, it's a great idea until you're like, well, how do we fund it? How do we make this thing profitable? How do we actually make it so people want to come to the ecosystem and they actually want to buy into the coin? These are all of the different things that I'm starting to think about. And again, like my mind's really, I want to say it's very sharp at the moment, where I've just been sat and I've just been brooding and thinking about all of the different ways that everything could have gone down. Like maybe we found a better development team in the beginning and we had a better group that wasn't Terra Rebels, and we ended up somewhere totally different. The thing that I understand greatly is that we are where we are now, and essentially we can change the future, but we just can't change the past. So yeah, let that sink in. I don't know how you guys are feeling about all this, but let me know in the comments section. And again, if you guys have got any questions, just throw them in the comment section. I'll try to get through them as quick as I can and just try cover as much stuff. So I have no doubt a lot of you are all wondering like what's going on with the market, and we'll get onto that shortly. Where we'll start to talk about, and I'm going to be doing a lot more coverage on the broader aspect of crypto, how we're affected, the ins and outs, and really what's happening daily. But there's so many positives out there, and you're probably thinking, well, hang on a minute, we've had this big crash. How can you say there's a mega pump incoming? And I really do think it's either going to be a mega pump or we are just going to brutally continue crashing down. And like I said, that's going to be the end of this halving cycle, because something that's not factored in at the moment is gold and silver and how that's been acting throughout the course of 2024, 2025 and leading into the end of this year. That's something from my perspective that's really stolen the limelight. And a lot of people saying, you know, well, it's these products like Pump.Fun that have really sucked the energy out of the market and might have robbed us of altcoin season. I really don't believe that's the case. I really do think gold is just kind of keeping us in this weird perpetual loop until obviously all of these all of the instability at the moment is coming to a close. And once that starts to happen, gold will start to come back down. And then I really do think that we are going to see a big move upwards, because we're in a kind of .com bubble at the moment. And essentially, yeah, it's going to burst at some point, but I think that's many years from now. I do not think this bubble will burst until the last Bitcoin has been mined, when there's no more value in mining, which effectively drives all of the value out of Bitcoin. Now, that's something that we've got to all wait and see. You know, it's not probably going to be in our lifetime, but it might be in our, you know, grandchildren's lifetimes or whatever. But again, these are all of the things that I'm thinking about now. But starting to invest into more blue chips, more secure assets, and starting to think to myself, hey, I really should just start investing in Bitcoin, even though, you know, I might not ever own one. You should probably start thinking about the idea that this all could burst at some point, like the .com bubble. So what I want to do is go over quickly and take a look at this, because I was saying to you guys about all of these assets we've got, the fact that we could find a way as an ecosystem. And yeah, we could find a way. There's there's a possibility we could do this as an ecosystem, is actually starting to say to ourselves, well, we've got all of these funds that are out there. And I don't just mean the funds on chain and the USTC that we've gone and burned through and what remains and what's available. I'm actually talking about what remains outside of the ecosystem. And this article's quite old. I think it's about 3 months old now, but they were stating that there's around 1.5 billion in crypto that still sits in the ruins of firms like FTX, Terraform Labs, Celsius, and BlockFi. And Celsius is actually caught up in the whole FTX and Terraform thing, and there was a lot about them in the court documents. But what we're going to do is stay on point here. Now, what they're actually saying is that Terraform Labs doesn't have that much. They're actually stating it's one of the smaller players in this article, but I can disprove that quite quickly. I can actually go, and what we can do is we can go on the Intel Arkham tool, the DApp, whatever you want to call it, and we can start to locate a lot of these ghost assets, and it's way higher than what they're saying. When I say it's like way higher, we're talking like thousands of Bitcoin higher. When DK, TFL, Chris Armani, they handed over all of the keys, they handed over all of the Bitcoin, around 1,600 Bitcoins moved, and we've located around 50 to 60% of those. But again, these funds that I'm looking at here are totally outside of the BTC that I've been mentioning it. They're totally outside of the LFG BTC that is still sat there waiting for really our blockchain to go there and claim it. We live in a time where essentially you can create your own lawyer through ChatGPT. You can create your own AI lawyer agent. You know, we have assets as an ecosystem, but again, like, we're so inward looking. It's like we're at civil war of ourselves constantly. And because we're at civil war, no one will ever agree collectively on everything. And I think a lot of the times what we should really do is, instead of just trying to figure out all of the details, is figure out where we want to go and then fill in the details. That really appeases all sides. But yeah, we've really got to get ourselves together, because there's a lot of money just sat there. And if these people, right, really want to, you know, create one of these stable coins, a new stable coin, well, you're going to need liquidity, buddy. You know, grandma's not going to be paying out of her pension. She's not going to be paying out of her pennies from her purse. We're going to need some serious Zaza. We're going to need some real big bucks. And we can gain big bucks, because TFL themselves are defunct. They're done. They're never coming back. And they burn all of the keys to all of the wallets. We know from the court documents that the SEC can't touch any of it. We know this, and we have seen this proved, because the SEC actually went ahead and they burnt that significant amount of USTC that remained in the LFG reserve. So all of the evidence there, all of the documents are like available. But again, like, we're at civil war of ourselves, and I think everybody's more interested in kind of like making the next person look like an idiot, so maybe they can gain more delegates, more followers. And I get it. We're in a very competitive environment, and that's kind of the way you do things. But like, there's so much more going on outside of our ecosystem. There's so many other ecosystems that we could really be at war with. You know, we could be at war with SHIB. Imagine if we took all of the negative energy that's on chain, and instead of it being directed inwards, we just simply direct it at another chain, and we begin to bring that other chain down. We show other people that, hey, you know, maybe SHIB's something you don't want to be involved in, or maybe Doge or whatever. You know, I'm not picking on SHIB here, but it's very similar to us. They burn, we burn, you know, similar circumstances, similar blockchains. So if you don't know about the LFG fund, yeah, there's still 313 BTC sat there waiting for us in LFG. And it's a significant amount. We're talking about 313 Bitcoins here. How many Bitcoins do you guys own? I mean, do you have a whole Bitcoin? Do you have 313 of them? Because our ecosystem does. It was deemed and determined, it was judged and agreed by the court in Delaware that what remains in the LFG reserves belong to the ecosystem. And anything that was caught up in that perpetual loot, been playing too many video games where I've been like getting, you know, the motion back. It was one of the first things I was actually able to do once I like started to use my hands and think about opening loot crates on skates. Stop it, Jay. Stop it. Back to work. I've lost my trail of thought now. The LFG reserves, yeah, going back to those documents, they're caught up in that perpetual loop of what the documents and the final judgment actually ordered should happen and will and has happened to all of the funds that, again, were caught up in that loop. And yes, the LFG reserves, and they're very specific. They name it. They've got it even in a little key there where they abbreviate it. They tell you it's the LFG reserves. They even state about the BTC inside it, and that essentially these are dead funds. Like, it's either it just sits there for the rest of its entire existence, right, until we're long in the grave and nothing ever happens with it, right? Or we go out as an ecosystem, we get up together and we work collectively to gather up all of these missing assets because, yeah, again, it's a significant amount. So if I just blip off here quickly, because I've got to bring up my bookmarks. I don't want you guys to see all of the different cat videos that I've got bookmarked. You'd be like, oh my god, the guy spinning the beaver in Poland has absolutely destroyed my soul recently. I don't know if you guys have seen that, but yeah. Anyway, getting back on track. Stop it, Jay. Okay, let me grab this wallet. So like I was saying, guys, earlier, when the handover happened between TFL, DK, and Chris Armani, a lot of BTC actually moved during that time. And like I said, we tracked a lot of it. And I'm sure I've got one of the wallets here somewhere. It's either here or it's going to be on the work laptop for Puerto Rico. Hang on a second, you guys. It's here somewhere. I know it is. I'll keep looking for that. We'll come back to that. Oh, no, here it is. I got it. So it's 1,075 BTC. You know, it's not a significant amount. This is a crazy amount of BTC, as we can see here. Moving 1,075.48 BTC. And this was done in 2 transactions, ending up at this wallet. And the only people that would have had access to this would have been the SEC, but they would have had to burn those keys. Now, again, the likelihood is they haven't burned the keys yet, and they wouldn't burn those keys, I don't think, until the whole court case itself is completely settled. And yeah, that means like all of the payouts, everything, T's, I's dotted, everything. So let that sink in. What do you guys think about this? In the comment section, you know, it's significant, is it? It's more than significant. So if we're just, you know, getting a ballpark figure here, we're looking at what? Upwards of 1,400 BTC that we've already found, plus the $2 million that sat on Arkham Data. And there's about 10 more wallets on Arkham Data that I've been going through, and they add up to around $15-16 million themselves. So we're pushing, you know, if BTC keeps moving upwards, we're pushing almost like, I think, like what, $200 million? Think about what our blockchain could do right now with $200 million. We could do something crazy. We could effectively initiate, and this is something that I've always found very interesting, is having a perpetual self-serving buyback machine. Having liquidity there, having it all balanced out, and this protocol, this smart contract, whatever you end up building, just going out to different blockchains, specifically Binance, and sniping Lunk coins when they're cheap. We've got all of these smart people, right, guys? We've got all of these, you know, high-class validators. And yeah, you know, I'm going to call out all those. I'm going to call out all of these top validators. We've got all of them, and myself included. You know, we've got all of these smart validators, but we can't seem to, like, create things of actual genuine, like, use. Because I'm not excited about any of these upgrades. I haven't been excited about any upgrades for a significant amount of time. I think when I first started to understand, well, hang on a minute, they're just like walking us around in circles. They're like, haha, look, you know, we've turned the dials here and we've changed the color, you know, pay us. It's not getting us anywhere. And like, you can see that. I think everybody can see that at this point. It's simply not working. We've got to do more. But I'm going to keep tracking these funds, and now I'm back, and I've obviously like coming back into this and just easing back into it. I'm going to be getting back on my data. Something I did do just as I had my first surgery and then everything really started to go wrong, I did put up a proposal to go ahead and burn those final 7 wallets, but it went into deposit. I never tweeted, I never did a video about it or anything. I will go ahead and I will follow that, but what I'm going to do is speak to other validators first. Instead of just going ahead and posting this, I'm really going to have calls with as many of the validators that I can and just sort of say, look, let's go through the court documents. Let's not be little babies. Let's not say, well, I don't like you. I don't like the color of your hair. Let's look at the court documents and let's just go, well, what do the court documents say? Okay, we can burn it. We've done this previously. Okay, the SEC burnt the USTC. Well, let's go ahead. Let's go in and let's burn these final 7 wallets. And if you're wondering what I'm talking about here, and you don't know about all of the USTC and the LUNC that we burnt, they released a piece of evidence that was used and utilized during the whole civil case, and it's Trial Exhibit P301. This is my specific data pack, but we've actually done all of this. You know, we've done the anchor, we've done the mirror, we've done the shuttle bridge. The SEC have gone ahead, like I said, and burnt the USTC. That's in LFG. We burnt all of the little singular wallets. We've done absolutely everything. But I think these last 8 wallets remain. And yeah, it's not that much LUNC, but this is a significant amount of USTC. And because we've got that supply down so much over the past however many years, this becomes even more significant. It becomes an even greater percentage. And it becomes this kind of hidden piece of momentum, I guess, if you want to call it that. I would call it that. I would say, if you're a smart guy, if you're a smart fish or whatever, you would really use and utilize a burn like this on the beginning, or as we maybe ease into alt season. And I'll be getting on to why I believe we are going into alt season, why I think this is like the Goldilocks moment, why BTC's recent movements on the chart have really signaled that, hey, we're going higher. It's not done here yet. That's my personal opinion. We'll be getting on to that later. But again, guys, what do you think about this USTC? You know, like I said, I proposed to burn this. It went up on deposit. And I'll be doing it again. You know, I'll go around and speak to the validators and I'll try to give it the best shot I can again to try and get these burned. Because the validator set is mostly agreed previously with all of the other burns that we've done with it was the mirror, the anchor, and then the other wallets that were remaining in Trial Exhibit P3. I love saying that. I don't know why I love saying that. Trial Exhibit P301. It just sounds fancy. Not that I'm fancy, but I'm just saying it, it sounds fancy. But yeah, guys, let me know what you think in the comment section. If you're wondering what I'm drinking, it's actually a Monster Energy. I'm running on jet fuel today, guys. My 1-year-old's just begun to walk and he's like absolutely all over the place at the moment. We're literally he's like got your phone, he's like running around with it, and he's got the phone, and you're like, oh no, he's got my phone. But if you take it off him, he's just gonna lose it. So we've got special cases and stuff now. We're like, okay, here's the phone, Cody. Do whatever you want with it. But I know you guys have kids. Watching them walk for the first time is intense. But when they actually get up on their feet, they can hold something and then run. Yeah, you're screwed at that point. You're absolutely screwed. So let's keep this moving. Let's keep pushing forward, and let's talk a little bit, because what I was doing is just while I was waiting and I was setting up and I was calibrating everything, just before I started this, I was just throwing some stuff at ChatGPT about the court case, about what happens if Do Kwon does actually enter a guilty plea. And what I'm going to do is I'll grab a link to this and I'll leave it in the description of the video so you guys can actually go in and go through it and kind of get yourselves up to date, so you don't actually have to wait for me to do a video and stuff like that. This is really important. This has a huge effect on our ecosystem, because Do Kwon might, and it's not a might thing. I know this guy so well now after all of these years of studying him and his journey across, time and crypto and space. He's definitely got more wallets he's hiding. He definitely used and weaponized a significant amount of coins that were minted during the whole debacle itself. We know that his first proposal was harshly rejected, and then all of a sudden they post it again and it passes, and validators that are like these not very well-known validators suddenly get a load of delegations. Where did those coins go? Because we know for certain, myself and Strafe, we can see that there was a significant amount more than 6.9 trillion. I think it was like 7.9 trillion at one point, depending on where you were looking at it. So there were some more coins burned. Some they were minted and then they were burned, and removed from existence. But if we could figure out, if they could squeeze him hard enough, right, to get enough evidence out of him, well, then we could have probably found out where more of these assets lie, more of these assets that they spoke about during the whole court case and what's obviously been judged and agreed and everything in the court of Delaware. This is really important stuff. This is all of the things that I've really been thinking about, because there's a lot of stuff we can't change. If people want to have civil wars inwards, not look outwards, then that's kind of just gonna happen. And everybody falls into the trap. Everybody does the same thing where you kind of get caught up, bitching with people on X or whatever. It's now a situation where we've got the opportunity to really look outwards, but it's one of those ones. I've come up with this thing recently. It's kind of like, we can split the atom, right? As humans, like we can split the atom. We can create nuclear technology but there's always the but, right? There's always the but. And it's like, we've got this blockchain, we've got this beautiful technology, we've got all of these like available funds that actually legally we could get at with like the right means and methods. But yeah, where I'm going with this, yeah, honestly, it's just stuck with me for a significant amount of time. So let me get rid of some of these tabs. Jesus, it's all popping off. So if you don't know, and I have no doubt, all of you know, I'm not teaching you how to suck eggs here, but I'm just going to go on the basis that you don't know. And effectively, all of this chaos has happened for two specific reasons. One, Trump announced a 100% tariff on China. Two, China then went ahead and effectively put a huge strain on the rare earth supply chain. But what we need to understand about the rare earth supply chain in China is they don't own all of the rare earth minerals. It's not mined there. The majority of it's not mined there, right? The majority of it is sent there and it's processed because it's very cheap to do it there. So, just theorizing here, and stick with me. I'll get to it. It's now a situation where Donald Trump, and what an amazing guy. He's managed to secure, hopefully, peace in Gaza. This is huge. The world has been in chaos. When two countries are at full-scale war with each other, when drones are being used, giant missiles, all of these different things are being used, it starts to get quite serious. And then we start to see things like gold and silver push up. We saw this back in the 1980s. And you're probably sitting there and you're saying to yourself, well Jay, what happened during the 1980s? What happened with gold price? Well, if we go onto the chart here, and we're going to go off of the day, we're going to go onto the week, and we look back to around 1980, right? So if we bring ourselves back and we can see back here at the peak of 1980, we see a huge move. And I mean a huge move. So if you're going to really try and like compare this, let's grab a ray line, let's go for a curve, and let's take it just from that stable bottom. We'll bring it up there. We'll give it a little belly, and we can start to see how violent, right? How violent that move upwards is. And this is all because gold spiked during the 1980s, and it was high inflation, weakening US dollar, economic uncertainty, geopolitical crisis. You've got the Iranian hostage crisis. No doubt you've probably seen the Netflix documentary. God bless Netflix. They're great for teaching us stuff like that. You've got the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan, which is known as one of these periods. Again, my country always speaks about this: stagflation. Low growth, high unemployment, everything we're going through now. So what has happened? well, gold has absolutely gone in crazy. It has gone, it's, I remember like it pushing upwards, and I'm like, okay, we're at nearly $3,000 an ounce. And I'm thinking it's going to go higher. It's going to keep ripping until somebody secures peace in the Middle East. And then hopefully we see the cooling down of Ukraine. And it looks like it's starting to wind down. If you're in Europe, you've probably seen there's a lot of talks about hopefully getting a ceasefire similar to what's going on in Gaza. They just had the meeting. I think it was in Egypt, wasn't it? Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section, you guys, but it's, like I said, it's now a situation, right, where, okay, peace is secured in Gaza. You're going to have now a huge, leg of just revitalizing what is effectively just been turned into a concrete slab full of rubble. They've got to rebuild the whole thing. This means money's going to move. This means things going to happen. Opportunities are going to be created. And the likelihood is, right, it might at some point, and with all of the amnesty, the way Donald Trump's going, I think it's a 20-point plan or whatever, it looks like it's going to become a territory. It looks like it's going to become, a Puerto Rico of some sorts, where it becomes a territory under the flag of America. Now that, let me tell you, is going to be real good for business in the United States. And let me tell you guys, if business is good in the United States, well, business is going to be good on a global scale. If America's getting some, the whole planet is going to be getting some. It's simply just that simple. So what I start to think about is, okay, right, so, you've got all of this growth in Gaza. That's really, peace in the Middle East. Things start to wind down. America settles in. Israel calms down. The war starts to wind down in Ukraine. Now, I know this because I'm very into it. I study a lot of different things to do with war history, gold, the perpetual motion machine, which effectively is the military industrial complex. And Ukraine is primed to really take the hotspot from China for refining raw earth minerals. So although China's out there, you've got these tariffs going back and forth. What cryptos are affected by tariffs? Oh, wait. What cryptos are affected by tariffs? None. Like literally, it's literally like there's a chip in people's head and they're like, right, let's take that one out and let's put this one in. And people are like, wow, tariffs. They don't affect us. In fact, this is great for us because if people start to put tariffs and stuff like that, well, what did Russia do when, they have all of these embargoes put on them? They have tariffs put on them. Well, they just use crypto. They just go for different means, different methods. You can really start to break this thing down and you could really say to yourselves, okay, if that does in fact happen, if Ukraine and Russia have a peace deal and Ukraine starts refining raw earth minerals, you have again rebuilding now of the majority of Ukraine. You've got all of this money moving. You've now got this huge leg that's going to be incoming, which is just going to be growth. And when all of those people do effectively, get a house, they rebuild things get back to normal, well, then you're going to have a very positive human being. What do positive human beings do? They go out and they spend money, right? If you're doing good, you've got money, right? You're either going to go out, you're going to burn that money, you're going to party, or you're going to go out and you're going to invest. So what are you going to do? Well, you've got this new age cryptocurrency, right? Think about all of the people that are right now sat on the profit from gold, and they've just had this absolutely crazy run, and all of the wars are over. Things start to calm down. Well, I'm telling you guys now, this thing's going to drop fast. I don't know how much of its value it's going to lose. Gold is, a timeless asset. It's always going to have a significant amount of value. It's always likely going to be a market leader. But this thing's overextended at this point. And the only reason it's carried on going, and the same as silver, is because of the fact that there was almost, and if you don't think this, I totally get it, but we were very, very close to some kind of match going off, and that match just being that one significant thing to just kick us into the next world war. And I don't know about you guys, but I want to invest in crypto. You know, I want to live on a boat when I'm an old man. I want to be having barbecues on the side of the river with my family. I want to be living a good life. And I think a lot of people in crypto at the moment, again, you're caught in this perpetual machine of just like simply not making any profit. You know, with all of the influencers, you know, buy this coin, buy that coin, buy this coin, promo this, promo that. You know, again, you're caught in this perpetual machine. And this is why I've been saying to people, like, if we are in a .com era, and the likelihood is the likelihood is we're in this stage where eventually this bubble is going to get so big it's going to burst. And what's going to come from that? Well, the Google of crypto. And I think, you know, we're going to have a few exchanges. You know, that's definitely going to be a thing. They're going to be like new age banks. There's quite a few of them. But there's only going to be one Google. There's really only going to be one cryptocurrency that really, I think, just ends up being that final gold standard, like hundreds of years later. And I say hundreds of years later, because until the BTC is completely mined, until no more is available, it's only going to continue going upwards. We're effectively in a market that's going to go perpetually upwards. You know what? Some of the best things that you could have invested in throughout the course of 2023, 2024, and 2025. Because it's not meme coins, it's, you know, yeah, you can invest in BTC Ethereum, but have you seen BNB? Like, literally, just invest in BNB. Look at this thing. Oh my God. You know, this thing's been ripping. So again, like, is it going to be XRP? Is it going to be BNB? Is it going to be ETH? What's going to be the Google that comes out of all of this? And really, it's going to come down to backhanders. It's going to come down to dirty deals. It's going to come down to dirty tactics. We are all in the financial sector. We've all watched all of the Wolf of Wall Street, how dirty it is, how cutthroat it is. I can assure you guys for absolutely certain, I've been out in the United States, I've traveled in America, I've met a lot of the big influencers face to face. And I'm quite happy to come out and say this. What a disgusting thing that, like, influencing crypto and just in general, what, like, a lot of the market has turned out to be. Again, like, a lot of the people making big bucks in crypto are influencers. People who are not committing to a blockchain, right? They're not building on a blockchain. They're just simply there for the money, for the promos, you know, to make as much money and derive as much money as they can. That's kind of the concept of what crypto has become. And again, what you really want is influencers that build, influencers that become validators and really get themselves interwoven into crypto. But like having a conversation with some of them, I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. I'm like, how can someone not know anything yet somehow know everything in their videos? It was like, what's going on? Yeah, I don't know though, guys. It's a strange market. I'm very positive about it. And again, I'm very positive not because of what's going on in crypto, because when you look at crypto for face value, you're going to get mixed feelings. If you go on YouTube, you try to get answers, the likelihood is you're either going to get a yay or a nay. It's going up or it's going down. Not a lot of people are really going, well, we've actually got all of this stuff going on. You know, Donald Trump literally says one word. There's no actual actions from it. He just said 100% tariff on China. You know, oh, might have a meeting with Xi, might not have a meeting with Xi. Who knows? Come on, eh? You know, it's boom. You know, we freak out. We freak out over raw earth minerals. And, you know, like, I was speaking to someone, they're like, oh my God, China's, you know, they mine all the raw earth minerals, and, you know, they're doing, it's like, they don't really mine anything. They actually just get it from other countries. Like, it's all of these things where we're a very peculiar thing as, like, a human. We get very, like, I think very driven, just like, when our, like, parents were younger, news didn't travel as fast. News travels like literally watch a guru literally retweet, or they'll repeat whatever he said in a tweet, and that's it. It's like instant and it pops off. I was sat there and I was like, well, this isn't going to go down well. And then I was like, well, you know, you've got kind of got this peace still, and you would think, well, you know, they've secured peace. This is really good. Yeah, it doesn't matter because everybody's like programmed, right? Everybody is doom scrolling. Everybody is, again, I've kind of swore off Twitter. I find it to be a very toxic cesspit full of just noise. Just like lots and lots of noise. And again, like I got caught up in this thing of just talking about Lunar Classic day in, day out, not talking about all of these interesting things that are going on, you know, not talking about this 1.5 billion that sat in defunct crypto firms, not talking about everything that's going on at the moment on a global scale. We really do need gold to take a dive. We need all of these bigger assets to take a dive. And then if you're saying to yourself, well, what's really going to, you know, if alt season is going to kick off, well, what you're looking for is BTC to really drop in dominance. You're looking for a big drop in BTC. And I'm talking price-wise as well as dominance. You know, things like ETH are going to drop. We're going to see a big drop. But at some point, and again, guys, you know, I'm an honest person. I've never ever witnessed or been around or been invested in crypto during altcoin season. This is totally new to me. But once that dominance drops, once the price drops, we should hopefully see this crazy thing that is altcoin season. And if you go and you know, look on any trading view chart, you can see that you've got a replay system here, right? So like you can pick a zone and you can watch how things happened. I'm telling you guys, altcoin season was absolutely insane. You could have invested in like the most randomest of random coins. And, you know, the likelihood is you would chuck $100 in and you make, you know, like 10 grand profit off your $100. Like, what the heck? That's what I'm in crypto for. I'm in crypto to make money. Like, yeah, you know, I love sitting at a desk. I love creating content. I love staring into, you know, blinding blue light. But I also like being out on a boat. I also like fishing, you know. What do you want, guys? Do you want to, you know, be here for the rest of your life trading crypto? Of course you don't. And this is why, like, everybody that's on the blockchain and, like, especially all of the validators now, and obviously there's been a significant shift in who's higher and who's lower and stuff like that. And I think to myself, wow, like, it's that bad. It's kind of like my country. Like, we're close to electing a guy called Nigel Farage. And let me tell you, that's not good. But when your country gets that bad, like our blockchain, right? You know, people that, you know, seemed crazy a while ago suddenly are like, actually, you know, maybe this guy speaks sense, because you're literally running out of options. You're like, what do we do? Where do we go? You know, what's the plan? Do we even have a roadmap anymore as a blockchain? Nope. But everybody seems to think that, like, we're determined by a roadmap. We're determined by needing like a development team to constantly do upgrades. Like, why don't we hire a development team to actually build something of worth? You know, start to restore things that we can control. For example, like reintroducing like actual chain created, chain benefiting, you know, a DEX there for the blockchain itself, where the blockchain can actually like benefit. So instead of like one singular thing or one singular project, you know, every other trade maybe, the chain benefits and everybody gets to eat from the community garden. Because again, this whole thesis, and you better believe it, guys, you know, if the price keeps going down, right? So if the lowest validators were likely like getting like probably like, I don't know, like 10 to like $100 at most, right? When this price crunch came in, if you thought it was bad for them before, it's terrible for them now. And then that echoes upwards, right? So like all nodes will be getting like, probably people out there probably think all nodes is pulling like $14,000 a month or $20,000 a month. It's not even remotely close to that anymore. As the pool starts to, and again, not going down the road of saying, oh, the pool's going to dry up. It can never dry up. It has a perpetual self-serving system where it just keeps halving itself. It can never run out. The rewards just keep getting lower and lower and lower. As the rewards get lower, the idea is the price should get higher, right? But that's not happening. Too many coins in circulation. So again, we've got all of these problems, right? we've got the ability to actually go out and burn like ghost coins like we've done as an ecosystem many times before. But like, I'm going to say it, I've been gone like 4 months and no one's attempted to burn any ghost assets. No one's attempted to burn anything. The only thing I've seen is people basically saying they would like to take the ghost USTC that is in some of these wallets and some of these protocols and actually putting them in their own protocols or putting them into a USTC repeg. I totally get it to like a USTC repeg if it was USTC and not a new coin, but like you can't simply take a load of assets and then just give them to one project. You're essentially like giving them a pay to win feature, and that's something that yeah, it's not fair. Like a lot of these projects are going to struggle. And I myself like running totally 100%, like regardless of what you might hear or what people say or whatever you might think, we run non-profit. We make no money from nothing. And that's why I had to basically put LunkPump.fun on ice. The monthly running cost for LunkPump.fun was around $1,300 per month, right? So Lunk Dash is like $600 to $700 a month with because you have to have an office, a company, you have to have all of these things, right? So again, like running non-profit takes a toll. So like I always think about how I struggle with things, and I think about all of these smaller validators. And then again, like, do you think All Nodes is gonna like hang around? Like when the price goes, do you think they're just gonna throw like $20,000 to maybe $30,000 at the wall in losses every month? Of course not. All Nodes didn't get that big. Like they literally validate probably like 1,000 chains at this point. They just move on to the next one. Anything they've got invested in this, they'll sell it. They'll sell as much as they can through the market orders. They just move on to the next one. And it's the same with KuCoin. It's the same with all of these bigger validators. And the likelihood is, right, it will be the same with many of the validators that because they'll have no other choice, right? But like, again, there's going to be those diehard validators that will run until the chain dies. Like I'll run my validator until the chain dies or until I have zero voting power and people literally are sick of me. They don't want me no more. And they're like, Jay, just go. Don't ever come back. Break your back permanently this time. Be paralyzed. I'm always going to be here. And, I know it's like real rich after I've just been gone for like 4 months. But, like, again, like I've just probably gone through like one of the most traumatic things. Essentially, probably like had a 90% chance of wasn't going to like make it back. It was real slim. But, I'm here talking to you guys, throwing down a live stream, and we're just shooting it. I don't care how many people I'm talking to, how many people are listening to me. As long as there's someone there listening that you're benefiting from this, that maybe you're getting, those vibes where you're thinking to yourself, well, maybe, yeah, we can do stuff. We can do more as an ecosystem. But we have to be very careful. We have to be very, very, very careful now as an ecosystem because you've effectively got all of these validators, right? Myself included. And you want to look at the blockchain as, let's say the blockchain is Burger King, right? And Burger King is being run by like McDonald's, Subway, like all of these different like Wendy's, like Taco Bell, Nando's. And everybody's got a portion of McDonald's. And everybody's trying to be like, oh, we should do this with McDonald's or we should do that with McDonald's. Do you think that Subway has got, McDonald's or Burger King's best interests? No, of course not. Burger King's got Burger King's best interests. McDonald's got McDonald's best interests. These are the things you have to really start to think about. Like, again, I run non-profit, and anyone else that's out there running non-profit, they're not making any money. They're the people you really want to pay attention to, in my opinion. And there's a lot of them on chain. There's a lot of people who are, again, building really, really good things that are going to be very beneficial for us in the future. Hello, mate. 1 second, you guys. Yeah, you can just... Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so... Crazy. Like, again, like... I really, really like what Trump has done with Gaza, but I really, really have not liked anything, again, with the whole kind of... I've had enough winning. I've had enough winning. I can't take no more. But yeah, I'm starting to dollar cost average a lot now, guys, into things like BTC, things like XRP. XRP is something I'm going to be covering daily. I'm going to be talking a lot about it, doing a lot of coverage. We did, a little bit of coverage here and there. Some of the videos got like 20k views. I think one of them went up to like 50,000 views as well. So like really interested in XRP, but ever more so over the course of the past few months, watching how it reacted, always said to you guys, dollar cost averaging, XRP will go up, this isn't something that's being built by like a team of guys in their basement or like someone like me who's like at home, got a family and kids and, is building things themselves. XRP is essentially one of the smartest ploys in crypto because everybody knows about it. Anywhere I've ever gone, especially in Puerto Rico, United States, everybody that I ever spoke to, oh, have you got crypto? Yeah, I've got XRP, or I've got Shiba, or I've got Doge. And it's like the only one I see or believe in the, very far future is XRP. And XRP, regardless of what everybody says or whatever, that coin has an infinite value. You can't put a price per coin. That thing is just going to go perpetually upwards. And yeah, it might have like huge stagnant like phases between it. But you better believe if you dollar cost average in, you're going to make some serious buck from XRP. And I was telling you guys to invest like way like, so like from what? May 2022 onwards. I was telling people to XRP is what I'm dollar cost average into. This is what I'm really interested in. It's my blue chip. And look at that bad boy. I sold a lot of what I had because I was like, this thing's going to like cook at some point. It's going to spike. It's going to drop back down. I can buy in. It's not Lunar Classic. I'm not going to harm anybody. And I just thought, you know what? I'm going to sell like 80% of my coins. And it was like the greatest trade that I think I've made so far. Aside from my Ponky trades earlier this year. The greatest trades that I have made, and this really saved the bacon. Obviously during that 4 months, that gave me the ability to basically keep Lunk Dash running, to keep the validator running, because yeah, guys, everything has a damn pesky running cost. I wish it was all free, but it's not, sadly. Only Strafe Cole is, thank God, thank heavens. But yeah, guys, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start going through the chat in a minute. I'm gonna be here until about like 4 o'clock, so I'll be here for like another 55 minutes, So any questions or whatever, just throw it down. I know people are like, where's he been, whatever. Just scroll back to the beginning. This is recorded. You can go back, you can rewatch it later. And just show other people, drop a like if you can, all of those different things. The channel is going to be, well, it's not going to be, it is in the worst state I've ever seen it in. Obviously it has 0 engagement, 0 views, 0 everything. It's really suffered during all of that time. But yeah, like I said, guys, get those damn questions in. So when I was looking at Commonwealth, and I know there's another place now where people are posting stuff, which is kind of like just not annoying or irritating, but it's like, wow, crypto, like people are like, isn't crypto really like advanced? It's like, well, kinda, but we use forums. And it's like, why not just build something into like the mobile apps, like that, Galaxy Station, all of the different apps, Lunk Dash included, Kepler wallet. Why not just create some sort of system that's integrated into that? We've got this actual like layer 1 blockchain, and we have to use a Commonwealth, like a forum. Like I was using these when I was playing RuneScape, trying to get bots to mine precious ingots. But yeah, nothing piquing my interest. Nothing but like the stablecoin stuff, and only because of the Genius Stablecoin Act. But I haven't been around. Like I said, I've been watching from the sidelines. But if there's stuff that like you guys want me to look at, you want me to cover, like, yo, put it in the comment section. Comment on this afterwards. And let me know, because I'm gonna have missed so much stuff. I've probably spoken about stuff and you're like, yo, you know, this is happening, that's happening, this person's doing this person's doing that. I literally have no idea. I've come in here like mostly blind, but like up to date on as much as I could. I don't sit there and like have the time to like troll on Twitter and like literally like sit there reading, trolling through like every single page and every comment to like find out what Miranda said to Mandy and what Bert said to bloody Reynolds and whatever. But yeah, like absolutely nothing, you guys, that's like piquing my interest. Like burn to earn, future video. Like, how are you gonna fund it? Like, where's the liquidity gonna come from? USDC staking system. These are great ideas, like again, but like, where's the liquidity come from? Like, where do we get the funding from? Like, the Oracle pool's not drying up, but like it's getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Yeah, we have the community pool, but again, like that's not feasible. It's not gonna last. It's not doable. You know, the market module. Saw a lot about this, and I'll do a video on it. The market module only works, and everyone will be like, oh, you know, well, the DEX is a market module, this is a market module, that's a market module. All of that doesn't matter. It's all just diversions and side tactics. At the end of the day, right, the market module on our blockchain was designed with a mint to burn feature. As soon as you remove that mint to burn feature, it no longer serves the purpose, and then it just becomes another swapping feature. Nothing more, nothing less. The reason why the market module made so much money and it worked and it did what it was supposed to do is because there was a very low supply on both sides of USTC and Luna at the time, right? And if one was minted on one side, one was burnt on the other side, and none of that exists anymore, right? So these people that are like sitting there and they're like beating on the drum that is the market module, and it's like, yo, like you can see from like a million miles away, like this doesn't work. Like a no mint version. For what? To create another Astro swap. Like, why don't we just fix Astro swap? Like, what? If you're not going to have the mint feature, it's simply not going to work. And again, like everyone would be like, oh, you know, oh, minting. Oh, no. Dios mío. Jesus Cristo. No, minto. Like, it's, if you introduce this mint inversion of the market module, right? Like, again, like you're going to introduce a system with safeguards, with barriers. I spoke to Strafe a lot when they were doing this, and I actually suggested to Strafe that they create a specific pool, right, that has the funds in it for the market module, and that's where the minting and burning happens. It doesn't happen like anywhere where it can do any damage. Like, it just happens in that. But no, we're so caught up in this whole sort of like, it's like my country, like democracy doesn't work, people. Like it does, but it doesn't. Like it's the whole butt thing. Like again, like this market module could work, but it has to have minting in it. Like, and again, we just simply can't get people over it, because as soon as someone's like, oh, let's introduce minting, everyone else could be like, oh no, he wants to mint coins. You know, don't delegate of him, delegate of us. You know, and it just all becomes like a skirmish tactic. It all just becomes like, oh, I can get delegates out of this. And not actually, well, actually, you know, we could do that. You know, we could introduce all of these things. You know, yeah, it's one of those ones. It's real interesting. Real interesting. I guess like when you stand back so far and then like you're paralyzed, you can't even talk. Like you think a lot. Like, especially like I've been here like nearly 4 years. Like, if you think that I'm not tired or I don't get fed up with this stuff, like, oh my God, you're so wrong. Like, I'm a human. I'm just like you guys. I'm going to be doing a cam soon. You'll actually be able to see me. You'll be like, whoa, look, he's a real guy. You know, I'm just like one of you. Like, I don't want to be here forever. Like, I want to grow old. I want, you know, and it's like, if we want all of that, like, why are we all here? Like, and these are the things that I say to Strafe Cole. Let's build something of worth. Oh, I don't have time. Don't have time. Too busy. You know, oh, I won't be around that much. Yeah, all I ever see is these guys are around. You know, working on proposals that are gonna go nowhere. Like, Straight, I can say, like, I will just say this. Like, I'm just going to say it. Like, he must have writ this and been sat there like, yeah, this is not going to work. But I'll write it anyway, just to appease people. Like, bro, just create the mint version and then get people's heads around it. Get all the validators together, create a round table, and get everybody to bloody agree. Because if we simply sit and do nothing, we are going to be screwed. So, like, if this drop felt bad now, and it'll be too late. This is the craziest thing. Like, the majority of you are locked in, right? For 21 days. Well, you're not going to be able to act on that. These are the things that we need to start to, like, think about. And I know I'm always like, oh, we need to think about this. We need to think about this. Like, whoa, Jay, that's a lot of stuff to think about. But, you know, again, nothing apart from this. You know, Redline Drifter's kind of like where he wants to be right now. And again, like, I disagreed with all of this for a long time. But if you're going to attempt this thing, like if you're going to do it, now's the time to do it. Because the Genius Stablecoin Act is creating a huge choke point for stablecoins, right? Our chain is decentralized, so therefore it can actually legally, from what I understand, pay out and, you know, have an actual yield-bearing stablecoin. No licenses, we don't need anything. We can just do it. Yo, we can just do it. Like, we literally could just do it. And this could be something that people like add to their portfolios. You know, this could be something that people come in from far and wide to get those juicy returns. But where do you get all of the actual, like, again, like you can move pieces on the chessboard to, you know, gain, you know, ground, or like knock other pieces on the chessboard so your pieces, you know, mean a lot more. But again, like, where do you get all the funding from? Well, that's quite easy. You go through Arkham. You know, you start to search for all of these ghost funds. You start to look at the LFG reserve, 313 BTC. You start to look at the 1,075 BTC sat in a wallet. You know, that it's crazy. Nothing like this. It would just sit there forever. Nothing's ever going to happen to it because they can't do anything like with it. Again, these funds, these ones specifically come from like an arm of LFG. This was a wallet that was attached to like LFG, and it's actually the original wallet that it's all been sent from. It's listed in trial exhibit P301. So again, like if you're going to create a yield bearing stablecoin, now's the time to do it. You can do it legally. They've created laws like surrounding it. You know, everybody's booming about these new yield bearing stablecoins. And no one can ever like make gains. Like everybody wants to day trade, but you don't really have the time to day trade. You've got a lot of skill to do it. My advice for anybody, that's not financial advice, we don't give any of that here, it's educational purposes only. My advice, again, not financial advice, is to just buy and hold. Like, don't go out chasing waterfalls. You know, this isn't a song. This isn't, you know, a film. This isn't Wolf of Wall Street. You know, you are not invincible. You know, you can get wrecked. My advice is buy and hold. This thing's going perpetually upwards for at least 20 more years. At least. There's going to be downs. But like, again, zoom out. Stop looking at the hour charts. If you are perpetually holding crypto, you should be looking at week charts. You should be looking at the day chart. You know, don't bother yourself with anything. And, you know, my advice is, again, not financial advice, but buy and freaking hold. That's how you're going to make the most money. Like, anytime I try tracing anything other than Ponky, you know, I tend to lose a little bit of money. You know, every so often, yeah, you know, something pays off. But again, like, all of those mistakes you make leading up to that. These are all of the things that I think about, though. I've got so many things on my mind when it comes to crypto. My mind's like a dog that's been thrown like 100 tennis balls. I'm about, which one do I go for? Oh my God. Crazy. So let's have a look at the chart. Sorry, started drinking. No questions from me. I'm going to go up to the top. I hope the new microphone's good. I had like a diabolical instance of like getting a new microphone and it was broken. I had to like send it back to the manufacturer, but they didn't have the microphone that I sent them, and they had to send me a new one. So they sent me a better microphone. So now I have like this really high spec microphone, and it didn't really cost me that much. So it's like, yeah, I hope the sound's really good. I know it can probably hear me whistling from my nose. It's terrible. It's all part of the paralysis, you guys. Sadly, I want to thank everybody. I put out a message like on YouTube, and I've also kind of like said a small thanks also in the Lunk Pengs group, which is where I showed up first. But I just want to thank people who are here that, you know, threw down comments like, where are you? Like, you know, all of the people that showed care. I want to thank my moderators, my Penguin community, my delegates, people that remain delegating with me and remain supporting me. Like, for all you guys know, I could have been dead in a hole somewhere. Like, my back surgery could have gone kaput, and I could have been incinerated and, like, already, like, mourned, done, dusted. But, like, you guys who stuck with me, like, you know, that's, like, a huge thanks from me, from my family, you know. You've effectively kept the lights on. You kept the machine going. Because if I had come back and, you know, I had like, you know, near zero voting power, I'd have been screwed. Like, I'd have been done and I'd have checkmated myself just from a singular operation. So again, like, really want to thank you guys. Really appreciate it. Yeah. So just let me know about this microphone. So session is recorded. Where's my drink? Oh my God. What do you guys reckon about Cam? Me, Cam, like I'm an OnlyFans. Oh my God. I just want to warn everybody, like I do wear suits, like, so like just be prepared. Like I'm not gonna like be in a tracksuit or something like that. I'll be in like one of my work suits likely. You know, I like to keep up with as much as I can when I'm working, like an appearance and sort of feel like I'm actually working. It's not easy working from home and keeping like a routine and everything. Before you know it, it's like 4 a.m. You're watching cat videos on Instagram and playing video games with your friends. Crazy stuff. Good to hear back about. Sorry about your back. Yeah, guys, honestly, don't pity me or anything. I really don't want it. That was why I didn't rush to come back, or because I just didn't want it. I just wanted to come back and just be like Charlie Sheen, you know, like in his little documentary. He's like, I got one gear, man, and it's go. I'm like, yeah, Charlie Sheen attitude minus all of the drugs. So Trump is an amazing guy because he stopped the slaughter. Yeah, absolutely, forever gamer. I have to agree with you. Like, so many people are like, oh, you know, give him a Nobel Peace Prize. I don't care what prize he gets. Like, what matters is that it's stopped. Those hostages have been released. The killing is going to stop. You know, me and one of my lead moderators, you know, my main man, Tabs, you know, we've spoken about this so many times since it all like begun. And, you know, I've always avoided this subject on YouTube because, you know, I don't ever want to like risk getting demonetized or whatever, but I simply just don't care now. Like, I want to talk about these things because, again, has an effect on us, right? It has a huge effect on us. I can imagine, right? Also, like you being in a very beneficial situation. Also, those are really down in the gutters, down in the dumps. Some of the biggest, like, real bulk of like smaller crypto investors are in places like Africa. You know, real kind of third world countries where they can't afford a lot, but they can afford some. And it's not like a bank. If they've got a phone, internet access, well, you can grab crypto. And again, like this whole thing, like we're not affected by tariffs, you guys. We're simply not affected. But strategy wise, like I was saying, you guys, I'm just gonna keep dollar cost averaging into XRP. I'm gonna be doing what Michael Saylor did, but just with XRP, and any kind of like bulk gains that I make during some of these big dips, I'm going to be investing into Bitcoin. My goal is to, and I know this sounds crazy, right? Is to hopefully at some point own one Bitcoin and just sit on it. Like everybody's got like their retirement plans, 401ks, whatever. I want a Bitcoin. Like I want a Bitcoin to sit on and that be the retirement plan. Because this thing, like I said, is going perpetually up, regardless of what you think, whatever. I don't care if you're like one of them people, oh, it's going to go down, you know, it's all going to crash, crypto's going to zero, whatever. Like, I don't care. This thing is going perpetually upwards. Like, we can see that. The ball's rolling. You know, the thing is picking up traction. It's picking up more and more snow as time goes on, you know, it's only going to keep going upwards. If you just keep dollar cost averaging in and you keep kind of like taking that pizza money, right? Like we've always spoken about here on the channel, you know, you're going to benefit greatly in the future. Like if you had just bought BNB in 2020 and sat on that and held it, oh my God, the gains you would make would be insane, depending on, you know, how much you invested. But yeah. So as I'm going through and just like getting down to the bottom of this chat, what do you guys think about the removal of forked modules? I was kind of bullish about this to begin with, but like again, like face value, yeah, great, like pat on the back, cool. But like we got to pay for this thing, and we're not really getting anything from it. Like it's not going to do anything. Price isn't going to go up. A load of coins aren't going to burn magically. You know, and I know that's kind of like not what you want to hear, but like, yo, the truth kind of hurts. It doesn't kind of hurt, it does hurt. You know, we're all invested in this. All nodes is the sake of a ship. All nodes is very bad for our ecosystem, as much as people want to give them like more and more power. Like, yeah, just give the keys to all nodes. Oh, we can trust all nodes. No, we can't. Like, again, the whole kind of like we're Burger King, they're McDonald's. Like, McDonald's does not have our best interests. Period. Again, like, no questions. Can't believe it. Been gone for like 4 months and nobody's got any questions. Insane. I have all the authorizations set on etc. How can this be? What? So what do you mean? We care about you because you care about us. Yeah, of course, guys. Like, we wouldn't have built Lunkdash. We wouldn't have done it all like non-profit. Like, we could have like Google ads all over this on the side banners. We could have pop-ups everywhere. We could be earning a lot of money from this. It gets a lot of views each and every month, like traffic-wise. Like enough for us to monetize it, but we just don't. We don't do any of these things. And like, despite the internal voice in me, like, don't do it, I kind of like been forced into a point of where I'm like, I really need to just have a Patreon for Lunkdash and then have a Patreon for the channel. And if people want to choose to like support or whatever, and they want to go the extra mile, it's there and it's available. Because so many times people are like, oh, you know, like, oh, can I sign up for this? And I'm like, whoa, actually, we don't have Patreon anymore. Like, I closed the groups a long time ago. And I'm like, I'm just not going to be having that attitude anymore. Because again, like, we run non-profit, but like, again, everything costs money. It would be nice to not have to run non-profit and actually like have the thing pay for itself at some point. So yeah, the situation with Lunkdash at the moment is actually quite bright. So we're working on some like new stuff, and again, like I've been saying, we need stuff that's like useful. And obviously I'm just a wallet provider, a metric system, whatever. Like, you know, we can only put so many bells and whistles on this thing, but the bells and whistles that I'm working on at the moment are going to be like really useful for everybody. So working on a smart contract system, which again, if your wallet gets hacked, you can come to Lunkdash and you can just do it. Like, you can use the tool to basically enact the smart contract to basically beat the hacker to your wallet. We're going to be introducing a few other things that I don't really want to talk about, but I thought that was really something that could be useful for everybody, there for everybody to use. It would be a lower rate than what All Nodes charges. And again, you wouldn't have to go through like loads of people in a panic, when really, when that happens to you, you want to be able to just act. Because the second you get that smart contract down, it's done, it's dusted, you know, you're going to beat the hacker to it. Period. So again, these are all of the things that like I've been thinking about. It's what I'm interested in. I just want to keep pushing Lunkdash, Lunkpengs. Lunkpump.fun is just simply on ice. You know, if we had the money to run it, I would turn it back on now, but we simply just don't have the money. Well, I say we, me, HCC, we don't have the money to run a $1,200 a month product. Sadly, Lunkpump.fun just didn't get any support. It had users, and again, it doesn't make any money. Like, it wasn't designed to make money. It wasn't in a situation where it could make a lot of money. It didn't even make $600 before we shut it down. And I think the total investment into that product was like $37,000 of my own money. Like, and again, like, if you guys ever thrown $37,000 at something just to shut it down because you can't afford to run it, these are the things that like we do as like people that are like building, you know, as a I don't even call myself an influencer. I'm not big enough. I'm not like a YouTuber. Again, I'm not big enough. I'm a very, very small part of very, like, effectively a small community in crypto, but like I do what I can, right? Like I build what I can, I put forward what I can, but Pump.fund simply something that I just can't bring back, no matter how much I want to. Before we shut it down, though, all of the people that like were on there created coins. There were other places you could go and you could trade those coins. So it wasn't a situation where we just pulled the plug and everybody was screwed. Like, no one was screwed, no one got scammed, and everybody could still go off and trade their coins. You simply just couldn't use the token factory anymore, and you couldn't swap on our decks. But yeah, this is the real sad part about, like, you know, had the back surgery, it was supposed to be real successful, had the complication, and then like waking up and just being in this like world, like, not again, like back to when I actually broke like my back, and then waking up in the hospital room and stuff like that. And I have so many photos that I just can't show on YouTube, but what I'm gonna do is put some like censoring out, and I'm gonna put them in the Patreon group in like, and I'm gonna be like, yeah, you can go look at those if you want, and you can see like where they operated on, the scar and everything like that. Because I know there's probably people out there like, you know, nothing wrong with him. Like, I wish that was the case. Like, I really wish that was the case, but sadly not. But yeah, no questions. Oh wait, okay, one question. In Livono, Legion 2. What? I don't know what either of those games are, sir. I'm a very old man when it comes to games. I've only just been introduced into Skate 4. We haven't had a skate game since we were kids. So, like, it's crazy. I also love that word where I've been around lots of female nurses where they're all running around saying the word like all of the time. Oh, dearie me. But yeah, guys, any more questions? What I'm going to be doing as well, though, you know, these ones are really quiet. I'm going to try getting into daily live streams where we just assess the day. We wake up in the morning, we go into a live, and we stay on till like 2 p.m. And then I'll, you know, smash out a load of like normal content. But I just want to ride the day out each and every day, because crypto changes on a dime, and people are, oh, you were saying this yesterday, you're saying this today. It's like, yeah, welcome to crypto, bro. Things change on a dime. But I'm just going to be getting back into my live streams. Not going to be bringing back up a podcast. I'm not going to be going in and doing X spaces and wasting my time doing that. I'm just going to be doing what I think's interesting, and really just speaking my mind again, not holding anything back. I was part of a like a very, very large YouTube agency, and I learned a lot of harsh lessons. Like, I learned how brutal the crypto industry is, how dirty it is. So like, now I'm like at a point where I'm like, okay, I actually understand how bad this sector is, and like why crypto actually struggles under the unbearable weight of all of the influencers like skimping and scrimping and scamming and messing each other over. Yeah, it's a dirty, dirty world, my friends. But I'm going to be here every day, lives Monday to Friday, not on weekends, obviously. But yeah, just like shooting the crap each and every day. But something I really want to like advise everybody on is things like ChatGPT AI as well. Like, really think about when you use AI now, because what I find is, and especially my eldest, is that you just get the answers for something now. You don't go through the process of like learning what you need to learn to actually get to those answers. Instead, it's just like you're getting given the answers. Being a 90s kid, I can remember all of my friends' phone numbers still. I can remember my parents' phone numbers. I remember all of these different phone numbers, but there's so many people who can't. You know, people now who simply can't remember like a sequence of a few numbers. And that's because of mobile phones, because we store the contacts in our phones. And I really do start to like think that like it's just making people stupid. And then effectively 90% of the time, if you're arguing with someone on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, one of you or both of you are probably using ChatGPT, and effectively you're just like two ants, right? With two larvae like in your little claws, and you're like using it to spin webs. Like, literally, don't be an ant, bro. Don't be an ant. Be a flying ant. You know, just my humble opinion. It's something like I started to like, I'm like stood places and people like, let's ask ChatGPT. Well, why not just like, you know, believe in yourself? Why not just like go and read a book or like actually do the work? It's really bad. I really think like it doesn't really serve any genuine purpose inside crypto other than to cause chaos or be like the next new flashy shiny thing. I think it's a bubble and I think it's going to burst. I think they're going to bring a lot of laws in which mitigate the use of AI and the way it's used, the way it's harnessed, what you can do with it. Walking into different times, you need to be really careful, especially in crypto now. Um, any AI you use is going to be going through your phone as well. You need to be very, very careful going forward into 2026 with your seed phrases. There's been so many instances and so many emails over the past 4 months of people having their wallet hacks and then getting down into the nitty gritty with them in the emails. And I'm like, where do you store your seed phrases? And they're like, on my notes on my phone. And I'm like, oh, geez. Oh, dear. But when I think about it, we have ledgers, right? But ledgers don't store your seed phrases, do they? If you lose the ledger or if something happens with the ledger, the seed phrases will get wiped, right? There's no real tool out there other than pen, paper, or a USB stick with a Word document on it for your seed phrases. I think that's insane. Like that no one's actually like thinking about this. You could probably have like a Game Boy cartridge. It would last forever. You could probably drop a nuke on it, it would still work. And you could store like probably like 1,000,000 seed phrases on it on a couple of megabytes of storage. It's the people, holy, you're back. Yeah, I'm back. I guess I'm back. I didn't think you guys would miss me that much, to be fair. I thought I'd come back and just people would be like, blah, blah. Oh, give me a sec, you guys. 1 sec. I'll be right back. I've just got to sort my bottle out for my youngest. Uno memento. Oh my god, there's so many buttons for this new microphone. I was like tapping so many things and it's like touchscreen and it like flashes and so confusing. But it's supposed to be a really good microphone no matter the distance you have it at or where you have it. I don't know if it sounds any better or if I sound like trash or whatever. I didn't like test it or anything before. I just thought, oh, I'm just gonna go for it. I'm just gonna go for it. So the thesis I was talking about earlier, that BTC dominance is going to drop, that really is the key, the cue. If you're looking for something that is going to really cue the next push upwards, it's going to be BTC without a shadow of a doubt. It will be the dominance dropping. And they say that altcoins typically dump, like they're saying in this article. But I've been reading about this. We're going to see a pretty hardcore dump, or we're supposed to see a hardcore dump. I don't know about you, but that was a pretty strong move downwards. So I would say we've already taken at least some of the punishment downwards. And if it is going to swing around, if we're going to get what's called a V-shaped recovery, I think it's going to look something like this. And what I want to do is just like a little bit of TNA here with you guys. And what I've been doing is, I need to come off the week. Okay, before we had this crash, right, we had the Trump pump, obviously, the Trump dump, pushing around that halving cycle. But what we're actually doing is moving downwards in a very, very interesting pattern. The reason why I say this is very interesting, it's called a three triangle descending wedge. And what we can see is three descending triangles here. And you've got a step out between. Let me just grab a little penny pen here for you guys. One sec. Which one's the pen, bro? There we go. Or brush. So what we've got is these step outs here and here. These are really important because this is like a huge technical setup. Now, this technical setup is still really good. It's still in play. And what you need to pay attention to inside any setup like this, is there a Dragonfly Doji? Now, a Dragonfly Doji, we've always covered these on the channel. Anytime Lunk's ever made a big move, you can go back. I'm not just saying this. You can go back to my TNAs. Anytime we've tracked a Dragonfly Doji, we see a move downwards. It's usually a strong move downwards. And then we get one of these huge pushes upwards. And what we've actually got here, just peeping, just down here, is a lovely, lovely Dragonfly Doji. We've got a kind of little pennant before that. And this is really important because of the fact that the Dragonfly Doji has printed in a pretty generous area of this previous green candle. We've got that fallback. And then we've got that hold. This was really positive. So obviously you see the push out. You see that next step out, right, guys? And then obviously we've got this move downwards. But the likelihood is, right, if we get a V-shaped recovery. So if we say we go down, we pop back up. You've got the beginning of that V, right? But what I believe would then happen is you've kind of got something like this playing out. Where if we get back up, it's really going to start to consolidate. It's going to start to really, really tighten up. And the hope is that you would get to this area, right? And you're going to push up. And what you want is a really strong push. Alt season, what you're really going to want to be looking for here, guys, is a push back on this original trend line. This is really the target area you'd be looking for to end up in. For around like the kickoff, I would say, of alt season. How high could we go? Most coins last alt season pushed new all-time highs. And that's really what I think we're going to be looking at. So say we get the, like I said, the V-shaped recovery. We get the push back up into this final descending triangle because this pattern technically should have played out. We should have continued cooking. If we didn't have those tariffs, we likely push to the end of that. That's around, coming into the 22nd of November, and we're probably looking at alt season starting to kick off around then, depending on what's going on a global scale. Now, what we want to see during all of this time, this is really important, is gold stops going upwards. Gold has to stop going upwards, and it's the same with silver. And a lot of people aren't and haven't paid attention to silver. If you go back to my early videos when I first started, like, I should probably make something other than Lunar Classic content. I've done some content on silver and the fact that I own a lot of bullion coins, and I explained to people, if you buy bullion ingots, you've got to pay the taxes on these things, right? But you don't pay no taxes in my country on gold or silver coins because it's a coin. It's an actual coin, right? You can't charge taxes on a coin that somebody owes. So you can buy as many gold or silver coins as you want in the UK, and you can't be taxed for buying them. You can't be taxed for selling them. And yeah, you can claim the VAT back on those on some of your tax returns. So it's a really juicy asset to get involved in. And believe it or not, the last time this really did start to move back upwards is back in like 2010 on the back end of really like Afghanistan, Iraq. and really the coming to a close of really that main part of that sequence back there. But again, silver is moving frantically. We really do need gold and silver to chill out. If this thing cooks, it comes back down, we get a sharp decline, that, in my opinion, is just going to accelerate this market. We're just going to start to move even faster. But these kind of things, they could take longer. It could push longer than November. I'm just kind of like theorizing. There's a guy, I was listening to a podcast, and the guy said it's a dangerous hazard trying to predict the future. I was like, that is absolutely crazy, because that's kind of what you do with TNA. You're just trying to predict the future. You're trying to predict what's going to happen next. And as much as like people might not like know this, I actually have a pretty good track record of like calling, pretty decent coins. Something I traded on, during the back end of like all of this crazy movement was pump.funds token. Made a little bit of money on that, only I think about $1,200. But those opportunities are out there. If you invested in Ponky, and it wasn't even like a promo or I was paid to do it or anything like that. Like I literally just found it and was like, yo, these guys are doing something a little bit different. So I invested. And it's that one coin that like really paid off. And we've had a few before that. We've had different kind of assets, again, that you could have invested in, and they went up, they went crazy. So when I say all of these different things, right, if you actually like go back and you look and you go, well, hang on a minute, HCC's speaking the truth. He said that it did happen. And like all of these times, again, calling these Dragonfly dojis, I think there's so much more in charts when you're not looking at an hour chart. And you're not sat there like watching it like a green candle go up as if it's going up loads, but really it's just like it's not moving. Yeah, day trading, especially if you are like day trading as well, like stick to day charts. You can figure out so much more on a TNA like situation on day candles. So, like trying to predict, oh my god, it's like having psychosis and then trying to predict the future while on like a mushroom trip or something. I don't know, something crazy like that. But yeah, guys, what do you think about gold? What do you think about silver? Do you think it's going to carry on going up? Do you think it's going to start to cool off? Do you think $4,131 an ounce is the new all-time high? What do you think? Let me guys know, dive in a little bit here. Throw some stuff down. I want to know. I also want to know what you guys have been investing in, what you've been like really doing, what content you've been looking at. Really, what has piqued your interest in crypto? Because for me, I don't want to say it's like a bit samey, but it's a little bit samey at times, isn't it? We, again, like the whole thing of like, we've got this great blockchain with this great technology, but like we can't even integrate a simple like forum into our blockchain. We can't have like this plugin, which we could do it, like it's doable. I've spoken to many different developers and they're like, yeah, you could do it. You'd have to have an external database and stuff for obviously storage, but like it's doable. Why do we have all of these things? And it's, again, McDonald's isn't going to be building Burger King's future. McDonald's is going to be building McDonald's future. It's just the way the cookie crumbles. At the end of it all, let me consult my mystic ball. Don't. I have a magic 8 ball, and it's many decisions where I'm like, should I have bacon or should I have sausages for breakfast? I'm like, shake the 8 ball. I'm like, oh, magic 8 ball. Tell us what to do. Perfect. Stock in Misty, ticker MSRTY. Let me have a look. Let me have a little look. So for my Penguin community that might be listening, still working obviously on the D app. Had to obviously put a pause on it, but still, no, I can't see it on here, sir. Maybe it will come up for just Misty. I'm a little bit rusty, guys. Bear with me. Misty. No, I can't see it. If you can bang a link, Itchy Dagger, for that, I'd be greatly appreciated. Is Binance going to do something special now to get Lunk up a lot? No. I truly don't believe they're going to do anything. And then that's probably like not what you want to hear, but it's been a significant amount of time. Unless they've got something planned for like ALTSeason, as time's gone on, I've just become less and less convinced by Binance. And because I understand burning, there's probably some people that understand this as well. A good example is when crypto.com messed up those transactions and they burnt a crazy amount of Luna Classic during that process. Binance has so much Luna Classic that they move like tons of it. And every one of those moves should be burned. That should generate a burn transaction. Because we whitelist them, we don't get any of that. And we settle for a monthly burn, which isn't necessarily better or worse. Yeah, it's guaranteed, but they could have, and they have messed up loads of times where they've moved the entire contents of their hot wallet. I don't even know what the burn would calculate out, but it would be, you're talking billions and billions. It would be a significant amount, I would believe, if they had moved. I think they had moved like 3.2 trillion when they emptied the hot wallet and then put it back in. It's those kind of burns that you'd be very interested in. And if they weren't whitelisted, we would see those burns go through. But we settle for burning from Binance. But I think our blockchain's now at a point where we've got to mature. And I can say this with an outside perspective. The burning from Binance isn't making anything better or worse. It literally makes no difference. And I'm not saying like Binance should stop burning or we should push all that way or forget about burning, but it's there. It's still happening. You probably could burn a lot more if they weren't whitelisted and maybe if we weren't getting the monthly burn. But we are in the boat we are in. We've got the sales that we've got and we should move forward with that. But long story short, getting on a side track and a side quest there, I don't think Binance is coming to the rescue. I don't think they're going to make a significant burn or are going to burn a huge portion of their coins. The likelihood is they'll hold them to death. The thing is with Binance, if I know like people be like foaming at the mouth, like so many people on X would be foaming at the mouth about what I'm going to say. I really don't think they use as coins. What users out there would continue to hold that many coins just on an exchange? You can't be that rich and have that many coins, right? And then not stake and not like know what you're doing. Because I don't know about you, but dumb people who make dumb decisions in crypto definitely don't make money from losing money in trades. So like, why hasn't the bulk of those assets moved? Why haven't the bulk of those assets been staked? What I just think that a lot of it, and again, this is where we can now roll back and we can say to ourselves, well, we look at trial exhibit P301. We've burned all of the wallets, but the CEX wallets. So what we've got is the Binance Deposit wallet here. And this is listed in trial exhibit P301. So we know that TFL has coins on the Binance CEX. And this is where you start to not get into conspiracy theories because we know it to be true. We've always known it to be true. The document proves that. I personally think that like DK maybe offloaded a load of coins that he used to sway the vote. Instead of burning some, maybe he burnt a portion of them and then just sent portions of them off to some of these exchanges. And the likelihood is he would have sent a huge portion of it to Binance. Now, why would you do something like that? Well, the reason why you would do something like that is because if I take assets from the blockchain and I send them around the blockchain, right? From wallets on chain, you can track that. But the second I send it to a CX, you can't track it because you need the memos. And no one has any kind of tool out there. I know this because we wanted to develop something like it for tracking, obviously, all of the wallets on Binance. There's no way to track memos. So there's no way for us to actually know, right, what's in this wallet. And now that DK has pled guilty, the likelihood is we're never going to know what's in this wallet. But do you want me to tell you who would know what's in this wallet? Binance. Binance would know what's in this wallet. Do you know who would know, right? And for the people who are like, do you think Binance is going to do anything? Do you know who would know if Binance are going to do anything? Binance. Now, I don't know, I read some different stuff about how certain people didn't actually have a direct line of communication to Binance. I don't believe that. I know certain people have a direct line of communication to Binance. They use it for their own self-gain. Again, these people could ask Binance. Like, they could directly ask Binance. Now, they could literally just send a direct communication and ask them, why is this wallet in trial? No, not why is it in there? Like, we know why it's in there. Like, how much is in this wallet? What memo pertains to this? The only way we would ever get the memo for this wallet is if we end up with the non-redacted version of trial exhibit P301. And the only things that are redacted from this are the memos. And the only memos that are required in this list are for the CEX wallets. That's it. So as you can see, we've got Coin One Deposit, Upbit, Binance Deposit Wallet. That one's crypto.com there, the WQRL one. And then we've got KuCoin Deposit Wallet. Why are these CEXs on there? Okay, like, we can say, well, the other ones, but like Binance, that's what really starts to like get your juices flowing, doesn't it? That's what like really gets you thinking. How much is on Binance? And normally you can sit there and you can rule things out, can't you? But like, a coincidence is a coincidence until it happens like more than a few times. And then you start to not tie things together, but you say to yourself, well, why haven't all of these assets moved? Well, the only reason all of those assets haven't actually moved, other when Binance has actually moved around the whole hot wallets content, is that they don't belong to users. They belong to either TFL or Binance. And I don't think they belong to Binance. That would just be silly. Maybe the bulk of it on there is TFL. It wouldn't be far-fetched. The total amount of LUNC that was held across Anchor, Mira, and Shuttle was 275 billion LUNC coins. So why couldn't there be a couple trillion, or even not half a trillion, just sat there on Binance? And again, if you want answers for that, well, you know who to go to. Go to Vegas. Or supposedly, I don't know, Greenpeace, considering he's like in the top 5 now. He must have a direct communication. Like, why can't we get answers? And again, it's the Burger King McDonald's thing, right, guys? We can split the atom, but Burger King is going to work for Burger King. McDonald's is going to work for McDonald's. Every validator is a different fast food. Like, oh my God, it's the perfect analogy. I just want to be Wendy's because of the Baconator. I'm just saying. I'm not moaning. I'm just saying. But yeah, you know, very interesting stuff, guys. This is all the stuff that's been rattling around my head for months. I'm like, what will I talk about? I'm like, everything. We'll just talk about everything. But anything, guys, that's piqued your interest, anything that I've like kind of missed on the Commonwealth or this other place that they're posting stuff. Oh my God, a voting power cap for enhanced decentralization. Yes, let's create a reason for people like all nodes to start double and triple noding. Because trust me, boys, they would definitely do it. You're like, nah, they wouldn't do that. They would definitely do that. They sent direct messages to a few different people on chain, like developers saying like, oh, if you go like tamper with the DCM, then you'll force our hand. We'll have to double and triple node. It's like, oh my God. So yeah, the argument will always be with like trying to introduce anything. And I think the DCM is like a really bad thing at this point, and we should just simply get rid of it and let the community decide for themselves. Because I was watching when that crazy delegation happened, and I think it pushed Vegas up to like 13% voting power or something, didn't it? But it was like a very, very brief moment, and it went there and it went back. And I thought to myself in that moment, wow, like a validator that's part of a new guard can actually get that high. Like somebody out there or a group of people have the ability to push a validator that high. And if you could get a couple of validators that high, you could really drive the chain in a positive direction if it was the right people. If it was people that are not seeking to be leaders or like whatever, or to like milk the situation, but to actually do good. And I don't know like what validators out there would like qualify for that, but that's really like the best case scenario. Europe needs trading pairs for Lunk. Honestly, at this point in time, we need marketing for Lunk. That's what we need more than anything. Because most people look at our blockchain and say to ourselves, it's just a piece of trash. You know, they don't know that Binance burns monthly. They don't know that we've burnt through, billions and billions of Lunar Classic. They don't know that we've burnt so much of the USTC supply that the supply is way lower than it originally was when the chain was fine before the crash. Yeah. Those sort of things that you focus on, and not like we are definitely back at like the whole VIN thing. And some of you might not think it, but like tell me what upgrade's gonna make my bags bigger. Like what upgrade's gonna boost my USTC price or my Lunar Classic price? Because I can't see any of these upgrades doing it. And I'm not saying that we don't need upgrades or we shouldn't do upgrades. Like, yeah, we should do them when we need them. But like, again, where's it getting us? We're just spending money to get an update and everyone's like, why is nothing happening? It's like, well, we literally just like turned a few dials, writ some lines of code. We are literally we're literally going backwards in time with the current proposal, because we're removing forked modules that we likely had a team work on at some point. So we're paying for someone to undo someone else's work that we paid them to do. So we literally we're essentially a mint to burn mechanism. We don't move. We gain a little, we lose a little, we gain a little, we lose a little, but we're not moving. Tell me if I'm wrong, guys. Tell me if I'm wrong. 6.5 trillion LUNC supply. I don't know what the supply is anymore. I'll have a look on StakeBin. Use something else other than my own. I like to show off other people's things. StakeBin's really good, by the way, guys. Oh, it's just under 6.5 trillion. That's not bad considering we are a blockchain that is like perpetually at civil war with ourselves. And I know I'm saying so much stuff that people don't want to hear. I know I am, but it's just the way the cookie crumbles. Yeah, look at that USTC supply. I mean, who would have thought that we would have got the USTC supply all the way to where it is now? That's madness. Like, that's a huge pat on the back, in my opinion, for everybody. Those who supported proposals to burn assets, those who created proposals to burn assets, those who voted as a delegate, simply as themselves going out, you're the people who are making things happen. And I know, wasn't it 8 trillion even? 7.9 trillion was the highest I ever saw it. And for everybody who's like, no, go back and watch my original videos. You can see it. You can see it in I think 5 of my videos. Yeah. So definitely 7.9 trillion, I can say for certain. But then it dropped from 7.9 trillion to I think it was just over 6.9 trillion. And then that's where it sat for a significant amount of time. So we've got it down from that 6.9 trillion mark. And you've got to remember, no one out there is running like a lunk burn campaign. So what we did when we first started YouTube, we created 2 channels, HCC and then lunk let it burn. The issue is, when I did that, is there's taxes, and there's a lot of taxes, and people just simply expect you to burn all of it, not pay the taxes, and at the end of the year get a massive tax bill. And that's essentially what happened to me in the first year. And I had to pay a lot of taxes for money I had essentially just burned. But there's no one out there doing stuff like that. Whereas if you look at SHIB, even though it's not making much of a difference, there's quite a few YouTubers out there that are doing those SHIB let it burn campaigns, and they've been doing them for like, I think like at least 3 plus 4, well, it's got to be at least 4 years. They've been doing those, and some of those coins are top 20, top 10 cryptos. So sometimes you don't really need to give a lot to get a little. I don't know. I think about so many different things about like how it's not effective here, but it's effective there. And yeah, we've got to give something else a try though, for absolutely certain, you guys. Absolutely certain. We can't keep going the same way we've been going. I mean, look at that UST supply. It makes me smile every time. If you can't appreciate that, you probably shouldn't be part of this ecosystem, in my opinion. That's a huge, like, thing for us all. I never would have thought we got that. That's why, instead of creating a new yield-bearing stablecoin, it's turned the USTC product that we have now into a yield-bearing stablecoin. Get the liquidity from all of the different places, wherever, if it comes from the LFG reserve, whether it comes from the Arkham data, or maybe it comes from the 1075. We should really look into that. That's something that would make a difference. And so many people out there repeg it, solve all of our problems. It's not going to solve all of our problems, but it's going to make a huge difference, and it's going to start to solve all of our problems. The only thing that's going to solve our problems is money. More money, so we can solve more of our problems. But not spending that money on useless upgrades, if you catch my drift, guys. Welcome back, HCC. I'm glad you're back. I really didn't think anybody would miss me. I honestly thought I would just become a relic and people would be like, oh, you remember that crazy cat guy? Yeah, but going to be dropping all of the HCC stuff soon as well, you guys. Just going to be moving to my actual name. Like I said, go into a cam, and then you guys actually get to know me a little bit better. But look, guys, we're at 4 o'clock. I want to try and get at least like one video done for you guys, where I just sort of go over some Lunar Classic stuff and get some stuff up there for those who can't attend the live streams and stuff like that. If you could drop a like on the way out, you know, share it wherever you can. I'm not asking you to go out and share it on X or whatever, but just like it, comment on it, help the algos pick things up and pick the channel up again. And yeah, I appreciate you guys. Have a really nice evening, morning, or afternoon, wherever you are on planet Earth. And this old git will catch you guys in the next one. I can't schlippity schlup for you guys, but soon I might be able to. Stay safe, you guys. And I'm going to catch you in the next one.